Welcome back to the Iconoclast Music Podcast. You know, I'm not sure in the first couple episodes of this new format if I've been using that or not, but anyway, this is Greg and Bill's Guitar Uproar, and I think that's maybe what I'm using. I'm here joined by my guest host and friend, Bill Lanero. Bill, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, dude. How about you?
Doing good, man. It's been an incredibly full and fulfilling week. I'll just tell you quickly what I've done this week, and then you can jump in on your updates. First of all, I want to thank Andrew Bennett, director of the Eddie Van Halen book, the Coffee Table book. We had him on as a guest last week, and I'd like to thank Andrew for an amazing episode last week and his time and just resharing and the whole thing. So thank you, Andrew. You were an amazing guest. Thanks so much. This past week has been super busy for me. So I'm putting this documentary together on Prairie Sun Studio in Northern California, where all the great Shrapnel records came out of. Mike Varney, you're buying these records in the late 80s, and amazing players, Tony McAlpine, Vinnie Moore, Racer X, Paul Gilbert. The list goes on and on and on. But my point is, when you look at the back, you see it was recorded at Prairie Sun in Cotati, California, produced by Mike Varney. It's on the Shrapnel record. They're all smoking hot players. Like, to this day, I listen to those records and I try to pick up things that I still can't, not that I can't do them, but you don't always have that stuff under your fingers. And these guys were like at the top of their game, Olympian type athlete guitar players. So anyway, I'm doing this documentary, and Bill, I'm going to tie you in here in a minute because you were the one that took me up to Prairie Sun and introduced me to the staff, Muka, the owner, and now it has legs. So this past week, I went to Simon Phillips, world-class drummer, producer, songwriter, the Protocol albums. Simon's played with everybody. Pete Townsend, The Who. You just look him up on Wikipedia and you'll see what Simon Phillips has done. And then go on YouTube and watch him play. It's just breathtaking, mind-blowing playing. So he was cool enough to say, look, I have a tiny window, a small window. I'm super busy. I am home now. And, me being in Ventura County, I'm like, that's within an hour of where I live. So we had an email chain going back and forth. And I went up, just a few days ago and took my camera gear. My son went and helped me engineer he was an assistant, but he ran a camera. And, dude, I expected to get 15 minutes, and I was there 2 hours. And I'll just tell you a quick story. We rolled up to his property that had been previously leveled by the Thomas Fire. Now, I'm talking 2,000 degree fire. This is, this will melt steel. Like, there's nothing left of those properties up there. And the fire started a mile from him. So, you kind of look on Google Map, where am I going, So I'm going to tell a quick funny story. So we have the Waze app. It's like a map to get where you're going. You don't have to think. Look, let the map tell you. Well, she takes us pretty close to where he lives. We're traveling up in the mountains of Ojai. But what she fails to do is to put us on the main private road. She puts us on a horse path. So my son and I are on this back road, and I'm like, this is not really a road, man. And I'm looking at it, and like all of a sudden the blue, sort of the road that you're on ends. And I'm like, uh-oh. So we're kind of dead ending, but it doesn't. It turns to the left and goes into a horse path. And there's a guy on his property looking at us like, what the hell are you doing back here? So my son's I think he's freaking out a little bit, and I'm just going, we'll just back out, because it's a one-lane road, and the road is narrow enough where kind of one car can fit, maybe two horses. Okay, so we did find a little turnaround. We turned around, got out of there, and went into maps on the iPhone, and we found it. We found his property. Obviously, it's all brand new. It's 100% all rebuilt from the foundation all the way up. So when we arrive, there was that. So I'm going, I know the address is right, and this is the road, he said. So this has got to be it. So I punched in the gate code. Sure enough, we're in. And it's just about 10 a.m. when he said to show up. So he's sitting there, and just like a proper Englishman, he's got his scrambled eggs, toast with strawberry jam, and a tall glass of orange juice. And it looked like the best plate of food that you would have, like a a chef come to your house and make you for breakfast. It was just so perfect. You know, super polite gentleman, and it was just so cool from the very beginning. And then we started, sort of going back and forth and getting to know you kind of thing. And, so then he welcomed us into his mixing studio. We set up and got 45 solid minutes. And I'm telling you, he said he wanted to start mixing by midday. So that meant if we got there at 10, set up by 10:30, we had whatever, we had a couple hours. So we got a good 45 minutes of actual interview, which I asked him, I'm like, look, he's like, do you think you got it? And I said, well, I definitely got the Prairie Sun part because that'll be 2 to 3 minutes. So did you want me to edit this and send it to you? And I got a two pro camera shot, pro audio. I'm happy to edit this and just give it to you. And if you want to put it on your YouTube page or whatever, you could use it however you want. It'll be edited in the proper format so you can upload it. So I just want to thank you, Bill, for the introduction because you got a chance to work at Prairie Sun with Simon Phillips producing your new record. So that's where I'll let you jump in.
Yeah, I mean, Simon's fantastic. I mean, from top to bottom, not only his musicality, but his personality. The guy, he knows a lot about history. We went to dinner, we were with him for 4 days. And on the fifth day, we went out to dinner. We went go-karting in the morning. And then we went out to dinner here in San Francisco. And him and I talked about World War II stuff and the USS Hornet aircraft carrier, which is right across the bay. I was showing it to him. It was across the bay from where we were eating. And he was really enamored by that. And I told him, well, next time, you're in town, to work with us, let's go to the Hornet. So he was all happy about that. But we got Simon through our drummer, Rick, who had gone to Simon's for a clinic, for a master class. I believe it was at his studio. It might've been somewhere else. And they just kept in contact. And so my drummer reached out to him and about working with us, and we would send songs to him and songs that we were working on, and he was just the most pleasant person. I always tell people that I'd never met him prior to going in the studio with him. And I didn't know what to expect. I thought jazz fusion guy, he could be a little bit, no offense to any jazz fusion guys out there, but a little bit arrogant and,
I didn't know. I was nervous actually I'm never nervous. I've worked with some of the biggest names in the business. Right. I'm telling you, my heroes when I'm like 10 years old. Yeah. And I was nervous to go because of, the potential highbrow intellect. Yes. Just the whole scenario. I mean, I don't want to interrupt you too much, but I want to say one more thing. When I say world-class musician, I mean, and I follow a lot of drummers. I've always been a frustrated drummer myself. I started on drums. I've taken lessons from Glenn Sobel. I know what I'm talking about. And obviously that sounds like a whatever, but I will say that he may be the best drummer on the planet. Yeah. I mean, he's arguably the best drummer on the planet when you see this guy play.
Yeah, anyway. I'd have to agree, right? And for me, it was that kind of led into my, thinking like, well, what's this guy going to be like, and then we did a FaceTime with him. I was in Nevada at the time, and we did a FaceTime, and he was just so nice. So I was like, okay, the wall's down, this is going to be cool. And then when I met him the morning of going in Prairie, it was like I've known the guy for 20 years. And he was just like, oh, great to meet you, finally meet you. And this is going to be a lot of fun. And his recording style is so relaxing and he knows how to get the best out of you. And he never once, when anybody in the band had an idea and he didn't like the idea or didn't think the idea was up to par, he never once said, nah, I don't like that. Or, no, that could be better. His way of doing it was, well, it's an idea. What else do you got? And it was so often, it was so kind of relaxed and non-threatening that you're just like, yeah, you're right. It sucks. Let's see what else we got. That's the way to me a producer should be. Because a lot of times you deal with producers and they want to flex their muscles, right? I'm the producer. I know what I'm doing. Don't tell me, that kind of a thing. He's not like that.
That shows incredible confidence in what he's doing. I mean,
absolutely.
It's like when someone has to give you their backstory, and I feel like I've been, I've fallen victim to that where I feel like I have to sell myself too much. And the older I get, the more I'm like, well, it doesn't sound impressive ever when you do that. It only sounds like you're bragging on yourself, or you're trying to cover up some other weakness that you might have. So, you just realize that when you meet some of these guys and they don't have to explain anything, you just witness the greatness, man, and you realize that, what you're in for.
Yeah, for sure. So for me to go to Prairie Sun with Simon Phillips, working on the album was, because that, just like you, I was a fan of Prairie Sun,
Right.
through osmosis, right? The Tony McAlpine records, the Vinnie Moores, the Richie Kotzens, all those things. I used to do the same. Look in the back of the album, there's Prairie Sun. But I had the benefit that I lived one town over from Prairie Sun.
Yeah, that's cool.
And so for me, it was like, wow, that's Mecca right there. And we can't forget players that near the end of kind of Shrapnel's heyday, players like Joey Tafoya, right?
Oh, dude. I had Joey on the first version of this show.
Yeah, I know.
Great dude.
Amazing player, somebody
Amazing
who
player too.
Unfortunately he didn't get his just rewards because it was near the end of that, that Shrapnel
92.
days. Yeah,
right.
And nobody was listening to guitar solos anymore. They didn't want to hear shredding, so it was too bad because he was an amazing player. And there was another guy too. It was a Greg something, not Greg Chison. Killer guitar player, and I can't tell you.
Well, there were a bunch. Like I think the guy Derek Gable, I want to say, was one guy. I'm messing that up. I don't think that's right.
Derek is
there
right.
were a bunch of them. Right at the end there. Oh man, I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, look it up because the one that I'm thinking of, his name was Greg, I thought. But the album was like a black and white. I mean, it was like him on the cover, but then there was like a checkerboard pattern, black and white checkerboard pattern.
Dave Sharman.
That's it.
Now, was that Shrapnel?
I thought it was.
I think he just had an instrumental record out, but Dave Sharman, I would have to look that up, but maybe I don't believe it was Shrapnel.
Okay, maybe it wasn't, but he was another great player.
He was fantastic. There were so many.
Yeah, they had a stable.
Darren Householder.
There's another one.
Who played with he played with Ray Luzier.
Yeah.
And the guys in 9.0, that was in 1990.
Wow.
And that was like all the guys from, like that singer, that Peter Marino guy, I believe, sang. And Peter was on a bunch of he was on Cacophony.
Yeah, that's right.
And Ray Luzier on drums. That was the first record he ever did. And Craig, oh shoot, he was on one of my records. See, that's my whole tie-in. Why? Craig Small. Craig, I called him and asked him if he'd be on my second record. And my tie-in is always like, I don't care if there's no like, I'm not trying to get hits or likes or anything like that. I just want to work with these dudes.
Sure.
And Craig Small is as good as he was back in, like when you listen to the record 9.0 with Ray Luzier, Craig Small, Peter Marino, I believe it was Peter Marino on vocals. And I don't remember the bass player. But dude, those guys were locked in, and it was like you go back and learn it now. You can learn how to play guitar by learning that stuff.
Absolutely. Did you ever see Cacophony live?
Nah. So I wasn't here yet. I came to California in 1999.
So I saw them. It was their last tour they did before they headed off to Japan. It was on the Go Off album. And it was a great little story. So I went with my friend Dave Fazio and my friend Rob Harris, and we Cacophony was doing an autograph signing at like Rainbow Records or something like that. So we go to the thing, and then you can get a raffle ticket. You can like buy a raffle ticket. So we all bought raffle tickets, and Dave's raffle ticket was ripped. And so he just kind of had a little tear on. He goes, "Hey, do you want to trade?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't care. I'll trade you." Right. So I took his raffle ticket and he took mine, and we go into the show, and the show is incredible. Right. And actually Marty Friedman actually references this show. It's at the Santa Rosa Fairgrounds, and he references this show because he said it was the worst unaccompanied guitar solo he'd ever done in his life. And it was because during his solo, he dropped his guitar pick and it was the only one he had. So he's sitting there trying to play, right? So I remember reading an interview with him, and he's talking about that. And when I had dinner with him one night, and I said, "Hey, do you remember that time you said that was your worst guitar solo ever?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "Dude, I was at that show." He goes, "No, you weren't." I go, "Yeah." I go, "I actually won a guitar from you that night." He goes, "That was you?" He goes, "I remember that." So what happened was they called the raffle ticket number, and whoever it was They didn't answer. So they called another number. Again, didn't answer. Called the third one and they answered it. And this time they called my ticket, but it was actually Dave's ticket. So Dave goes, hey, dude, that's my ticket. And I said, dude, you gave it to me. We traded, right? So I went up there on stage with Jason and Marty. And I remember asking Jason, I said, hey, do you give guitar lessons? And he said, yeah. And he gave me his phone number. And then right after that, they went to Japan. And then right after that, he got the call to go to David Lee Roth. And then right after that, ALS, you know?
Oh, man.
So
unfortunate, dude.
Totally,
Such an unfortunate.
yeah.
If you don't know the story of Jason Becker, I mean, obviously it's a very guitar-centric show,
Yeah.
so most fans will know. But Jason Becker, again, as you just outlined, maybe, I mean, at 17, maybe one of the most gifted players you've ever heard in your life.
Yeah.
And then it just got better, and he got the David Lee Roth gig, and Marty got the Megadeth gig. But you know, he started feeling weak and had a limp, and turned out he was diagnosed with ALS. A couple years back, I gave away a guitar and asked folks to donate, and then donated the money to Jason's family. And I know that Herman Lee and you know, a lot of guys have pitched in. I don't know if you've seen that.
I have Joe.
You know, the Paul. Yeah, Joe, Paul Gilbert's donated a guitar. There's a bunch of guitars. So check out the Herman Lee. I don't know if it's specifically hosted by him, or rather sponsored by him, but try to find that Jason Becker, you know, fundraiser and donate to it, because as you can imagine, the medical bills have to be just, you know, overwhelming. Yeah. And, you know, they're artists. You know, his family, they're artists.
They're all artists, yeah. And they live right here. They live right across the bay from me in Richmond. You know, I mean, they're
so it's a really
20 miles.
It's a really great cause to give to. I mean, it's very. I mean, think about this. I don't know, but I believe he's the healthiest and longest surviving ALS, you know, human that has been, you know. And it's been, you talk about early 90s till today. I mean, that's a long time to survive with 32 years illness.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I think, what's his name? Stephen Hawking's was the previous longest survivor. Yeah. Wow. And then when he passed away, I think, I mean, it's a horrible title to hold, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, but I went to the movie premiere of Not Dead Yet.
That's I bought that on iTunes, man.
And he was there. Movie. He was there.
Oh man.
And dude, he's funny. I mean, you know, he's talking through his box, right?
Yeah.
But you know, his girlfriend was saying, "Oh yeah, he still wants to have sex and all this stuff," and it's great. I mean,
wow.
You know, yeah, he's like, "I'm not broken down there," you know.
Yeah. Well, hey, I want to, you know, look, since we're kind of on a bit of a bummer, look, let's just talk about one other thing here, and then I'd like to move on. Jason Becker, please find the organizations that help to sponsor him and donate. Could you imagine $1 each person that hears this, or anyone that even knows the story? $1. Do as much as you can, but just something, you know. And you know, I just feel like that's a really needed cause. I'd also like to bring up the fact that we lost another guitar player in the community this past week, Jeff Labar of Cinderella, 58 years old. Cause of, you know, obviously the cause of death will be, the family will let everyone know, and I don't want to speculate on anything. But what I will say is, I want to talk about what you remember about when you first saw Jeff Labar. And if you don't mind, I'll go first because mine's pretty quick. I remember like it was Scorpions and Def Leppard and Motley Crue, and then this new wave of like what they now call hair bands was like Cinderella, and there was a bunch of cool bands. And this song, was it Shake Me? Shake Me was the first. But the thing that was cool about it, these guys were like flipping their guitars around their back. He and the bass player. And I just thought, man, they really have a really strong look going for sure, with their hair teased up and this new look. And I remember, I'll never forget my cousin and I, it was like, I think it was like 86. And Shake Me came out, and also Eat 'Em and Smile by David Lee Roth came out. And my cousin and I lived in, you know, we lived in different towns, but like 30 miles apart. So we'd see each other on holidays, and in the summer, we were a year apart. And we'd always share new music, either through like, you know, MTV, we'd see something, or Circus, or Hit Parade, or Magazine. And we both saw the Cinderella video. Like, I want to say it was Shake Me, yeah. And so, and then we both said the same thing at the same time. Did you see those guitar players flipping the guitar around their back? We had never seen anything like that. it was just amazing, the stage presence and how they came out swinging, and for me, I was never a huge Cinderella fan. I just never was. I just wasn't a fan. I won't go into the details of why. I liked, I liked a little more progressive style of music. And definitely Steve Vai and Eat 'Em and Smile, that was my thing then. So like at the same time, I'm hearing both of those records. I'm going, well, Steve Vai's, obviously, he's got something super special that hits me in a certain way. So what were your early recollections of seeing Cinderella and Jeff Labar?
So the first time I saw them was opening up for Kiss at the Cow Palace here in San Francisco. And I just, one thing I always liked about it is now
Crazy Nights?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
One thing I always, and I believe Wasp was on that tour too.
Oh man.
The Last Command
cool.
album. Yeah. When they were coming out, I was listening to Death Angel, Metallica, Exodus, Testament. Those were my bands, right?
It was Bay Area. What's the East Bay thrash scene?
Yeah, East Bay thrash scene, right? Yeah, exactly. I mean, South Bay, everybody, it was this big community of thrash bands, right? I mean, everybody wanted to be a thrash band then because of Metallica mainly.
Me too.
Right?
Dude, I loved Anthrax.
Yeah.
And Master of Puppets at the time.
Yeah.
Look, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that changed my life when I heard Master of Puppets.
Absolutely.
So, I forgot a second ago of what else I was listening to. But yeah, of course, we heard Master of Puppets in 86 too. Go ahead.
Now I live 1.3 miles from the Stone, where basically Metallica and all those bands played all their big shows. Yeah. But anyway, so for me, and at the time too, I was a big Wasp fan. I wasn't a big Kiss fan, still really am not. But I saw Cinderella, and the first thing I do remember this. The first thing I thought was that guitar player for Cinderella is really tasty, and he was a tasty guitar player, and Tom Kiefer did a lot of the soloing too. Like on the ballads, he would do a lot of the soloing. I think he did the Nobody's Fool. I think he soloed on that one. But, Labar was a tasty player and that whole spinning guitar thing. I don't know if the Cinderella kind of did that or Yngwie did it first, because I remember Yngwie used to do it,
But I had never, but the thing is you couldn't see Yngwie doing it. You only heard him. I think I had Marching Out in like 85 or something.
Well, I saw
So
Yngwie.
I only heard him play. I never saw him or anything.
Okay.
I mean, we're kids then, we're 15 years old.
I saw Yngwie open up for AC/DC at the Oakland Coliseum, man. And one thing that will always is etched in my memory is Yngwie on stage, the smoke on the stage, right? Very dramatic, like the cover of the Marching Out album, right? He's on there and his legs are, he's kind of squatted down and the smoke is kind of, on the bottom of the stage, right? And that's how he was live. It was just like that. But somebody had thrown a glow stick, those are the ones you break and then you throw it. And he's soloing, he's doing his just blazing up and down the neck. And without missing a beat, he picked it up and just started using it as a slide and then tossed it back in the audience. It was such a flawless move, man. I will never forget that. And then, of course, Angus came out and destroyed him, with the power of AC/DC that just can't be beat,
Hey, let's get back to Jeff Labar for a minute. I will say that I thought he was always super cool.
I never met him.
I always thought he seemed super cool, when I saw him. But I have worked with Jimmy Deanna from the Bullet Boys, the drummer of the Bullet Boys. He's done he's been on my records, and he's a good friend now, and he's just a cool dude. And those guys toured with the Cinderella back in the day with the Bullet Boys, and said everybody that's coming forward talking about Jeff Labar said what a sweetheart of a guy he was, and just what a great talent he was. So. I want to say one thing just to kind of lighten the mood here at the end of this, is that if you go on YouTube, look up, Jeff Labar escaped something that was maybe not so hot for Cinderella back in the day.
But I got it stuck in my head, man. Pat's Hot Dogs.
All right, so check it out. Go on YouTube and check out Pat's Chili Dogs, Cinderella. So before Cinderella was, hot shit, they did a commercial in Philadelphia where they lived, and it's for Pat's Chili Dogs. It's just the funniest thing. At the very end, each band member takes a bite. Now, Jeff Labar wasn't in the band yet, and I will say that that might have been a really good thing that he wasn't in the band yet, because, man, this commercial is just the greatest. So take a pause now and go look up Cinderella, Pat's Chili Dogs.
Well, I watched an interview with Tom Kiefer actually last night, and he was talking about that. And he said, and he said the reason that they did it was they were trying to get on MTV, and they
I do remember that story. Go ahead.
And so the guy who owned it saw them play and said, "Hey, can you guys write a theme song for Pat's Hot Dogs?" And he said, "Sure." And we're gonna buy spots on MTV. So he figured, well, we're not going to get on MTV, but we'll be on MTV locally, but we'll be on there. Yeah, and it must have worked. It must have worked because, I mean, they became one of the biggest bands of the 80s.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's a funny video. I mean, and it does get stuck in your head, and you do want to have a chili dog when you're done.
Dude, tell me about it. But going back to Jeff Labar, right? And you said everybody I know that knew him or met him said the same thing. A really super, super nice guy, right? And it's really a shame that we really only talk about people after they've passed on.
Yeah.
I mean, man. It's really a shame because guys like him who were struggling with whatever he was struggling with, and maybe if he had that kind of support system, I don't know, maybe he did, I don't know, maybe. Look, but people just saying, "Hey, look, dude, he's a nice guy, he's a great guitar player,"
Yeah, man.
And I don't want to speculate about what he passed from because we don't know yet, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it could have been an underlying cause of anything.
Right.
So I just don't want to speculate, but there are people out there struggling, and he admitted himself that he had issues that he was dealing with, and that was the cause of Cinderella's kind of hiatus since '94.
Right. Yeah. Well, let's take a quick break. Quick note from our sponsor, and we will be right back.
This podcast is sponsored by Strap Tight Strap Locks, the most secure, affordable guitar strap locks on the market. Install and remove in under 2 seconds. No need for any tools. Endorsed by legends such as Joe Satriani, Glenn Hughes, Carl Verheyen, and more. Get yours at straptight.com.
All right, we're back. Thanks to Strap Tight Strap Locks. Bill, you know a little bit about Strap Tight, don't you? What do you know about? I mean, this company just came out of the ashes, like from nowhere.
Well, Phoenix Rising,
I'm
right?
Kidding. No, I use these too. They're really awesome. They're little clips that you put on your strap buttons. You don't have to use, you don't have to take any screw out of your guitar. Yep. You don't have to do anything. Buy the guitar from the store, put these on, your strap will never fall off.
Yeah. That's basically
And then there's this, it's like they literally install, if you know the trick. What is the trick to putting those on?
Literally, it's our slogan, grip, twist, push. That's it. Remember that, and you'll remember how to get it off.
Push.
And grip, twist, pull. That's how you get it off. In under a second, if you know how to do it, boom, you're done.
Talk about some of your sponsors, the guys who endorse them.
I mean, we got Joe Satriani, who just had a birthday yesterday.
And by the way, not that we planned this out. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Right?
Yeah, I just want to say happy birthday to Joe too. I mean, I posted something on social media and my stories on Instagram, and hey, what I said was, if it weren't for surfing with the alien, I would not be doing what I'm doing. I just would not. Well, Joe Satriani, happy birthday to you. We hope to have you on the show here shortly. I know we are in contact with your management team, so guys, maybe soon you'll hear Joe's voice on this podcast.
Yeah, and I got to say, man, he goes beyond just musicality. He's into the gear. He's into the type of material the picks are made from. He's into all. I don't know if you've seen his book or not.
I have it.
You have it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great book, right? It talks about the recording process of every album. It
goes so deep, dude.
Yeah, and at the end of every chapter is all the gear he used on that album.
Yeah, it's incredible. And it has sort of other professional musicians that chime in too. So
yeah.
What's it called? Strange Beautiful Music?
Strange Beautiful Music.
It's a great read. I wish it was an audiobook because I love audiobooks.
Yeah.
When I go on my morning walk with my dogs, I just love, I listen to podcasts. And that's another reason why I decided to bring this back was because and it's not the type of thing where, all my fans said that they are missing my podcast. The truth is I've had maybe 50 people over the last year say, "Hey man, when's the podcast coming back?" And we have a great number of subscribers, so it is the truth that people like to listen every, once a week, whatever it is. And I listened to one with Jason Bateman, Will Arnett, and Sean Hayes called Smartless. And the thing that I love most about it is that these guys are at the top of their game. They're all working, and they're all multimillionaires, whatever, and a ton of credits. Jason Bateman's been working since he's a little kid.
One of my favorite actors.
But Jason Bateman goes on record as saying, look, I never graduated high school. I never went to college. And when he talks, he sounds vulnerable when he talks about these things. But what the hell does he have to worry about? He's set for life, that kind of thing. So I love the peek behind the curtain. And that's kind of what I wanted my podcast show to be whenever I came back with you is, we'll have guests and stuff from time to time. And we got some cool ones that we're talking to, but it's got to be the right timing. But I really just wanted to have a way to have people listen in on our conversations that we have.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, right? I mean, people, they like to live vicariously through others. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? I mean, I would love to live vicariously through an architect because I love the design of buildings, or I would love to live vicariously through Leonardo da Vinci if I could. It's just to kind of glean a little bit out of somebody else, To me, that's what it's about.
Speaking of gleaning, what about the new John Sykes song? How about John Sykes? Here's the thing. I mentioned guitar players that I love, and I rarely, if someone asks me in an interview, I rarely remember John Sykes. I don't know why. I should quote him as being like one of my top influences on guitar because I just love every single thing that he does. And so finally we have new music from John Sykes. Guys, obviously with copyright laws and stupidness out there, and I don't want to give anything away, but look up John Sykes' Dawning of a Brand New Day on YouTube. There are 2 new songs. The Dawning of a Brand New Day is my favorite of the 2. The other one's called Out Alive. You've got 290,000 views to date on Dawning of a Brand New Day and 71,000 on Out Alive. And I have to say, Dawning of a Brand New Day, freaking amazing. I mean, we've heard the stories of how John Sykes was going to be, well, I don't know if this is public knowledge. It's so far past its expiration date now, but I will say that I know for a fact that Eddie Trunk was very vocal and instrumental in connecting him with the Winery Dogs. I think he was going to be the guy for the Winery Dogs, and it never happened. I don't know why. I kind of know why, but I'm not going to say anything here. But what I will say is that could you imagine John Sykes, Mike Portnoy, and Billy Sheehan? I mean, Richie Kotzen's one of my favorite musicians of all time, so I love that. But we haven't heard anything, but we heard rumblings of how these things were supposed to happen. No John Sykes, no John Sykes. Well, now we have John Sykes, and it's, if you look in the description of the videos, it talks about these are 2 songs from the brand new record due 2021. So let's hope that happens.
Yeah.
But if not, we have 2 killer brand new songs. What was your thoughts on them? I got to say, Dawning of a Brand New Day is so well written. It's got that clever, interesting lyric where it kind of ties you in. It's well thought out. The vocals are amazing. The solos and guitar sound is tremendous. That's my take on it. The videos are really cool too.
So I mean,
like lyric videos. Yeah.
The thing about Sykes is he's always had good tone. He's always had amazing phrasing. He's a tasty player. I mean, he's one of those. He's a guitar hero's guitar hero. Is who he is.
For sure.
The average person, their guitar hero is, I'm not going to name names, but the guitar heroes out there, they love John Sykes, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's also just got that look, that big mane of hair.
He's a rock star, man.
Yeah, he's a rock star. And I always put him right alongside Adrian Vandenberg. Those
totally.
2 players, I would love to see those 2 players in a band together. I would just, I mean, I couldn't even imagine a Vandenberg Sykes project Sykes Vandenberg, however you want to do it, would be amazing to me.
I agree. I love David Coverdale for what he did.
Sure.
I mean, it was just, it is what it is. I mean, it's very like sexually slanted, whatever. And, I mean, there's that, which is kind of, it's kind of, for me, it's a little strange. You know what I mean? But I will say that John Sykes' voice on the Blue Murder record and records, all of them. And the song in particular, Valley of the Kings, that solo to me is the best written, crafted, executed solo that's ever been written in the history of guitar solos.
Yeah.
The guitar tone is tremendous. You could listen to it 10 times over, and every time it basically takes you on this journey of like, it kind of starts slow with the smooth and, the very slow vibrato. And then he builds the thing to just this tremendous, climax, basically. Same thing with Bad Boys on the Whitesnake.
Oh,
it might be that song. There's another one, but any of the solos on, except for the Adrian Vandenberg, Here I Go Again, which I don't know if people know that the only solo that is not John Sykes on the Whitesnake 87 record is Here I Go Again, which is interesting. But everything else he's ever done, including Valley of the Kings, is just like, man, it's so great.
And they had a video for that one on MTV, right? Valley of the Kings.
Valley of the Kings did, and there was another
that was,
song.
Tony Franklin on bass?
It sure was.
Yeah,
yep. And Carmen
Appice. Yeah.
On drum.
Absolutely.
Great album. Look up Blue Murder. Go check out the John Sykes songs on YouTube. Man, I wish I could play them.
I know.
I wish I could play them on the show, but I've done that before, and you always get flagged. Stupidness, and I understand it's a copyright. They don't know how you're using it. They don't know how you're selling ads to, with other people's music. So I totally get that. But check it out. All right, what else do we need to talk about, Bill?
Man, what about? I mean, that's what I love about this.
Okay, I've got two more topics, but go ahead.
Give them to me. What do you got?
Well, you go first because we're at a half hour now, and I feel like we may have like another 15 minutes as far as mine go.
I mean, one thing I was thinking about, and I posted this on Facebook the other day. I said, where are the Eddie Van Halens? Where are the Satrianis, the Steve Vais? Where are the innovators? The Jimi Hendrixes? And I got a lot of replies from people going, "Oh, well, this guy's great, and this guy's great, and this guy's fast." That's not innovative. To me, innovative is somebody who moves the bar completely in a direction that you didn't see coming. And there's nobody that is doing that. I mean, there's great technicians. There's amazing technicians. Yeah.
But
there's nobody.
It's true. Like I mentioned Aaron Marshall from Intervals.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that they're well-crafted solos.
Sure.
That don't seem to noodle in any way.
Which I like.
It's like Dream Theater without the vocals, basically, to me.
Yeah. But again, it's not innovative, right? And to me, innovative is a whole other thing.
It's not brand new? Is that what you mean?
No, I mean, like, if when you heard Eddie Van Halen, when you heard Hendrix, when you heard, these guys, when you heard Yngwie, you knew exactly who they were. There was no question. You didn't think Eddie Van Halen was possibly Joe Perry. You didn't think Jimi Hendrix was, Angus Young. You know who it is the moment you hear it. That's lost nowadays. There's a million artists on YouTube that all sound exactly the same.
So I definitely I've thought about your post because I chimed in too, and I will couple this with something else that someone asked me on one of my. So I'm going to Vegas to interview Mike Varney, the president of Shrapnel, who started all these people's careers. But on that post, someone said, "Hey, are you going to Vegas to interview Jakey Lee?" And I said, "No." Simple as that. No, it's not him. And then later on, it was, people revealed, was it Mike Varney? And I said, yes. The reason why is because, to your point, I don't think there needs to be an innovative guitar player now because it was Eddie. It was Jimmy Page. It was Jimi Hendrix. Those guys were the innovators. That's the bar. Everyone else will always be under that. And someone mentioned Toast Nabasi. Absolutely. He's fantastic. Not for me. It's not for me. It's not, I don't like to listen to it.
Yeah.
It doesn't hit me in a certain way, but it likely will hit thousands of other guys in a certain way, and they will think it's innovative. But look, if you don't educate yourself in the history of who Jimi Hendrix is and who Eddie Van Halen is, 50 years down the line, you'll think whatever is coming out in your generation will be the most innovative player you ever. So I'm saying in our generation, it kind of doesn't matter because we lived at the same time. It's like one of those memes like, look, you might be having a bad day, but you managed to live at the same time
as Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah. Okay? So that's why I think we don't need to have another innovative guy outside of him. I don't think so.
I mean, it's nice to push it. Yeah, but it's nice to push the boundary, right? He definitely set the bar. But somebody who's never talked about when it comes to innovation and who should definitely be talked about is Stanley Jordan. That guy came out and he did things on the guitar that nobody even, he took tapping to a whole other level, his whole entire style is based on two-hand tapping, and you had, what's his name from Night Ranger, Jeff, I can't remember his name right now, Jeff Watson, he's doing the 8-finger technique thing, right? And then, Jennifer Batten came out and she took it to another level. But Stanley Jordan, he's doing full songs, and now you see these kids, 15-year-old kids with acoustic guitars doing the same thing. And people are like, oh, you're so innovative. No, you're not. It was done already,
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It is really hard to find anything that hasn't been done.
Well, let's talk about Eddie's creations. So I don't think we answered your question in a way that was meaningful. There is not a player outside of the guys who set the bar that have changed the game. I don't think so. I'll follow you on that journey of not being super impressed by a lot of guys. Anyway, so I'm holding the Eddie Van Halen standard Wolfgang, and this guitar was like $550 because it showed up and the neck it came brand new from a store, but I wanted to review it. And the neck was kind of a little jacked. They did not package this guitar well at all. I'm not talking about Fender. I'm talking about the store, and I won't mention the store. Also, there was a chip in the back. And so I'm thinking I got something used. I don't know. So I called the store. I'm like, hey, I'm returning this. Not cool. They said, we'll give you $100 off. And I said, because I could have my guitar tech fix it. I wanted to hear the pickups. I will say that I'm using this guitar because of how the pickups respond with I use the Victory Kraken. All right, so the Eddie Van Halen standard Wolfgang, like I'm saying, I got from a music store, and it was like $100 off. And I was like, I had my friend Frank Falba, who does all my guitar work. He works for a bunch of big names too, so I just trust him, no matter what I get. So I was just like, I'll keep it. So we repiloted the holes in the neck. So, for whatever reason, they didn't package it well. I don't know why. But anyway, we got it playing fantastically. The pickups in this thing react so well with my rig. I'm using the Victory Amps Kraken, and I am sponsored by them. So, obviously, that's what you're hearing. But if I wasn't, I love this head. And I turned the gain on channel 2 down to almost next to nothing. I use a Seymour Duncan vice grip with a tiny little bit of the sustain gain on the pedal, and then I clamp it down so the blend is all the compressed sound. But it just sounds really fantastic. It's a warm, this word chewy that everyone's been throwing around the last couple of years. It definitely has that chew. It has a nice warm brown sound. It sounds like Eddie Van Halen. They roasted the maple neck. I would just think, man, if you guys want a good guitar that's under $600, $700, just go buy one. They're great, man. So you have a bunch of them, the PV ones, right?
Yeah, I've got 4 of them. Yeah, I've got one actually that was a prototype that was sent to Eddie for him to kind of critique.
Wow!
And then
how'd you get that?
My friend Frank. So it has a cool lineage, right? So it went from PV to Eddie, then back to PV, then it went to Neil Zaza, and then Neil gave it to I don't know if you're aware of Neil Zaza. So
we're gonna do some shows in Pittsburgh before COVID.
Oh, okay. So he gave it to my friend Frank, and then Frank gave it to me for my birthday. So
wow.
Yeah, so it's I love the guitar, no serial number on it, killer guitar. My original Wolfgang that I have, it's funny because people won't play it, they won't even touch it because I don't clean my fretboards.
Oh yeah, that's right. You never change the strings either. It's disgusting.
Yeah, so check this out.
Gross, man.
So the strings on my 3 purple Wolfgangs. I have 3 purple Wolfgangs and 1 amber one. That's the prototype one. The 3 purple Wolfgangs, all those strings have been on there since 2014.
Wow, that's disgusting.
But they're not dirty. I mean,
I do the same thing.
You know,
I don't really sweat either. So yeah, what's the point of changing them?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they don't break. They're Dunlop strings, and they're fantastic, strings. But that's that's not a plug. That's just I love the strings, right? They work. But yeah, I haven't. But the output on that guitar, on the number one Wolfgang, the output on the pickups is really, really low compared to the other Wolfgangs.
And do you like it better or worse?
I like it better for certain situations.
Yeah.
In the set, I always used it for standard tuning songs, and then I would use my number two for all the drop C stuff or drop D stuff.
Wow.
And then I had a third Wolfgang that I would use for everything would be dropped down a full step, and then the low E would be dropped down to even lower than that. So
where'd you get the other ones? Because they're kind of hard to find these days.
Well, I'll tell you. So the first one, my number one, I bought online on eBay, in 99, I think, for $800, no tax, no shipping, just boom. It came to me and I loved it. And then
what year was this?
That would have been 2000. So so I got it right after they were coming out, probably a couple of years later. And then the other two Purple Wolfgangs I got from my friend Michael Burry, who you may know, he was the subject of the movie The Big Short, where Christian Bale portrayed him in the movie.
All right.
So he gave me a couple of those that he had, and they're all stop tail pieces. He knew I love stop tail pieces. I don't.
My favorite.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
use
and I'll
trims.
block a floating bridge so I can have the double clamp and the fine tuners.
Yep. I'm not a fan of the trims, but I have a few guitars that have them on there for recording.
Yeah, totally.
Not for live.
Yeah, man.
But I love the Wolfgang. It's my favorite guitar.
Yeah, I agree, man. Mine's the EVH version of it, and I'd like to get another one, but I'm to the point now where I don't know. I have like 30-something guitars, and that's not a brag. It just shows you how old I am. I mean, look, if I got 2 guitars a year, that's not that many, really.
Yeah.
And there are guys that have hundreds of guitars, but I'm getting to the point where every single one I have, I don't really want to get rid of because they all serve a purpose, and they all sound a little bit different. Some are identical, but all of my guitars play pretty well.
Have you seen? Oh, go ahead.
What's it? No, I was just gonna say I get my guitar tech to set them all up so that they're perfect.
Yeah, that's cool. I just have to do it myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but
he'll make sure all the frets are level as they should be, and then the height. He sets it up like the way I like it, and like I'm saying, I have one guitar that I bought. I don't know if you can see it. Let me grab it real quick so I can check it out.
All right.
This is an Ibanez Roadstar 2.
Oh, wow.
From, I want to say 83 or 84, whatever. I love the look of it. I just love the humbucker and single coil in the neck. I wish the thing stayed in tune a little better. The neck is awesome. I think there was a magic in this era of Ibanez guitar because I love them. And I've had other guitars that were, fixed bridge that they don't really go out of tune at all. The guitar is killer, but it just doesn't stay in tune. The thing I found out is that I always like this little hook that they put on the Ibanez Roadstar of this era. And there was a guy, I'll have to go back in my text, but again, my guitar tech, Frank Falbo, messaged Rich Lasner, who was integral in Ibanez with the Ibanez Gem and a ton of others. Quick side note, we went up to Northern California and he was working for another guitar company. This is a few years ago. And man, I didn't realize how integrated he was into Ibanez for the Gem and all that. But this little hook, the guy who designed it pulled it from the Rickenbacker bass.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So I always thought that was a cool look.
It is
that's
cool. That's old school
yeah.
right there. I mean, just look at it,
Look, it's not even in tune now when I'm playing it.
Yeah.
I have other guitars that you'll pick them up 2 years later, and they're in tune. They're in tune with themselves.
Isn't that crazy?
They'll be a little bit flat or sharp, but they are in tune with themselves. So I do love the guitar, but it needs more work. And likely when I get bored, I'll take it out to Frank and have him see what else he can do to get that in.
You know what I find
in tune, because it's just a pain in the butt.
What I find interesting about guitar design and stuff is that here we are in 2021, right? And you've had some companies like Fender or Gibson. They introduce like automatic tuning and things like that. but it never catches on. And it's always, people still just want the wood and the metal and the strings, and that's it, and that gives me hope, because the sitar or the what is it, the keytar never caught on. So that gives me that gives me hope about the future.
Hey man, I've got a keyboard playing buddy named Donnie Dickman, who played with George Lynch, played on some of my stuff too. He's a big fan of the keytar.
Really?
He rocks that thing hard, man. Yeah. He loves it.
Oh, the people who play it, they play it great. But people, nothing still looks cooler than being on stage with a guitar around your neck, and the just. I mean, some people can ruin that image without a doubt. But others, it's still it's just that kind of romantic. I'm going to stand on stage with the guitar and just play my heart out.
So yeah. It's been a fun week. It's been very action-packed. I just booked my trip to Vegas to go interview Mike Varney and Stoney Curtis. And I've got maybe a couple others that might jump in. I've asked some others, so kind of trying to figure it out. But look, I'm just excited to go to Vegas and meet Mike Varney. And meet, obviously, I know Stoney for a while. And Stoney knows a ton of people too. So to go visit their studio is going to be tremendous. I cannot wait. I'll be staying at the Rio, so they have a nice pool and the Kiss mini golf there, which I heard is not the greatest, but I'll check it out anyway. My wife may go with me, but I'll tell you what, I do not mind to travel by myself. I've been doing it for many years now, and there's a peace in it. I don't know about you, but I absolutely love to be spontaneous. And a few years back, I want to say 2010, I drove from Philadelphia to Los Angeles. I made it in 2 days. I did 2 18-hour days and 1 8-hour day. So I made it to, I took the southern route, whatever. So anyway, it was like when your lower back goes numb, why am I stopping? Why am I going to spend the extra $100 every night I'm stopping? I was like, you know what? There's one way to do this. I did 18 hours last night. I want to sleep the 5 or 6 hours and hit it again in the morning. Let's do another one. And then the last day I was like, I made it to Arizona and basically 2 18-hour days. So I was like, I'm just going to go home.
Yeah.
I don't need to spend any more time on the road. So I love to travel by myself. So I may go with my wife, but likely I'll be doing it by myself. So folks, if you check me out on socials, I'll try to give as much cool, content as I can, leading up to that, and then when I get there. So, stay tuned for that. I want to thank Strap Tight Strap Locks. I want to thank Victory Amps and all my other sponsors. And Bill, what say you?
What say me? I wish I could go on that Vegas trip with you.
Are you officially backing out?
Not out yet. Still, I'm waiting for one more phone call. So,
okay. Well,
yeah. So,
dude,
it just.
I mean, I get it, and I booked the room with 2 queens on purpose, and I don't even believe it. So the room was $27.
That's insane.
Weekday.
That's insane.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm not going to mention when. I don't want folks to know when I'm going to be away, but so there's like a $35 resort fee, which I'm like, who cares, man? So it was like, I think the whole 2 nights and whatever was like $140 all in. Yeah. Free parking, pool, like what else could you want, man?
Yeah, totally.
So it's going to be hotter than hell, and I hope you can make it.
Yeah.
Because I'm driving out, so I'll have my car, and I've got some family out in Vegas that I'll go visit, but I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, I remember when we were on tour out there, we played Vegas, and I think you went and saw family when you were there, right? You parked your car, I believe. You parked your car. Wasn't it? You parked your car or something in their driveway, and then we all met up.
That's right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. That's what happened, for sure.
That's right.
And then, you know what's funny? Did I do that? Because I actually remember having parked it at the Motel 6 where we were staying. And then I had to go talk to the lot attendant and say, look, I'm going to be staying here when I come back one night. Can I leave my car here? So he put a note on my dashboard. And then when I got back, it was totally covered in dust. When we got back to that tour, when I flew back into Vegas. But
I remember something.
That's funny. There was something. Yeah, there was something with my family. I don't remember.
Maybe it was somebody else in the band that parked their car there.
Okay.
Could that be?
I don't
maybe?
quite.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember what it was, but I remember something about that. Yeah.
So hopefully you can make it. No pressure. Obviously I'm hitting you on a last minute kind of thing. So if you can make it, cool. It'll be a lot of fun. If not.
Well, if I don't make that, we'll definitely be hanging when you come to Prairie Sun.
Yeah. So that's the next thing. The end of August, I'll be going up to Prairie Sun. And I have to tell you that Simon said to me, Simon Phillips, my good buddy Simon Phillips, not really, but I wish, said, "Are you going to get Tom Waits?" And I said, well, here's the thing about that. Until I have Simon Phillips, Mike Varney, all these, big name players, there's no point in even reaching out to a Tom Waits because his management's going to say, what do you have? Show me what you're doing. Show me progress. So that was my notion of like, why don't I just shoot for the stars and see what I can hit, And I was able to, look, cross fingers, everything will go off without a hitch when I go to Vegas and record, film those guys. But I do have Simon Phillips. I will say that. And I want to say that I'm not going to mention any names, but there's some big names that reached out to me. So I'm like, dude, this is going to be really cool. So the Prairie Sun documentary, I'm hoping to get into editing by the fall, and late fall.
Yeah. And the other cool thing is, there's a connection between Prairie Sun Studios and Lee Marvin, the actor. And that's something I think that should be revealed in the documentary.
Okay. You're going to have to, you know what? I'll let you be instrumental in that. I mean, obviously you're helping me with this. You're going to go up and do some drone footage and some artwork, I think too. I really, when I watch documentaries, I always love it when they, you'll have the person that's being interviewed then becomes narrator because they then cut to like an artistic scene. And I was mentioning to you some of the artwork that I think would be really cool. I'm great with video editing because I've done it forever and I had, I've worked in the industry for 10 years. So I'm great at Final Cut Pro. I don't have any problems there, and film work I'm good with. And I've done so many interviews at this point that I don't, I got it. I kind of figured that you figure out after 100 plus episodes.
Yeah.
And having worked with a bunch of people, you figure stuff out. But Photoshop and things like that, some of the artwork, you'll be helping me with that. Yeah. And, I'm just going to thank you up front. And, it's going to be a good time when we go back.
Oh, absolutely. And real quick on a side note, when I lived up that way, you'd always see these calendars that were for around town, and it would be like a rooster looking like Eddie Van Halen, playing guitar, and they had this artist that did these calendars for them every single year. I think for I want to say 15, 20 years. And they have them when you go into Studio C. They have them recorded with Simon. They have them all up on the wall. It's a
Did really he use cool that console? So that's the Pete Townsend console, not the one in Studio B?
No, the one in Studio B is the Pete Townsend console.
Okay, so which one is in C? That's just an old vintage console they have had, right?
Yeah, with the Rupert Neve mic pre's.
Oh, wow.
Now, we did work on, when we were in there in September of last year, we were in Studio B on the Pete Townsend console.
Yeah.
So
incredible, dude.
Yeah, a lot of history there, man.
Well, hey, everyone, thanks so much for checking in with us this episode. We will have some guests. I have a few that I really want to have on. I'd love to have Mark Slaughter on. I got a chance to do some work with him. I played a show with him up in Pacific Northwest. I see that he's on tour, so but there are others that we want to have on as guests. It just takes on a little different work. It's like a little bit more work to do those episodes. So, I want to always make sure that I'm bringing a quality content. So thanks everyone though for checking out our first couple episodes. And Bill, thanks so much for your time today, bro.
Hey, thank you, man. Always good to chat and to talk music and guitars.
All right. Well, we'll catch everyone else. Everyone else, what? The rest of the world?
The rest
Besides
of the world.
The two of us?
That's right.
We'll catch everyone on the next episode. See you soon, guys.